Hello! In this video, I'm going to show you how to download the Eco637-F23 zip file, open it, and start working with it using R. So, first thing we do is we're going to go to Modules, and in Module 1, Course Introduction, we have Using RStudio and Eco637. I'll click on that. Here we have Eco637-F23.zip. So I can download that, and it's going to download into my Downloads folder on my computer. So I'm going to go click up here on the folder icon. Bring my downloads window over where you can see it. And I'm going to move this to a more useful location. So I'm going to move it to my Documents folder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and say Move to Folder. I'm going to pick Documents. Move. Then let's go over to my Documents and take a look at it. So Documents. There we go, Eco F637-F23. I'm going to take off this parentheses 1 that showed up because I had already opened or downloaded this file once before. I'm going to right click and say Extract All. And it's going to say, which folder do I want to extract it into? I want to extract it into Eco637-F23 inside my Documents folder, so I'll extract that. And now I have this folder where I can work in. So I'm going to double click on the .rproj file, the R project file. And that's going to bring up RStudio. It takes a moment while it loads. There we go. And you can adjust the panes as you want to. I like to be able to see a code window, a terminal or console window, the environment, and the file folder. So let's open up introduction.r and let's run it. So we're actually going to run it using the source command because that runs all the lines. You can also just highlight all the lines and hit run up here. Actually, let's do that. Let's run it that way. So now you see down below install.packages tidyverse. So it's installing a set of packages that give you access to some very useful commands in R called tidyverse. Now library tidyverse says, okay, open up and attach that package so I can use those commands. Package list, so I created a little list of packages that I distributed to you all. And now it's reading that in and installing those packages. Now that's done. So the next question is, okay, how do I use the data? So I'm going to actually start a new session. So what I'm going to do is called restart R. I'm going to close introduction.r. And I'm going to start in a new clean file. I'm going to start by loading library tidyverse. That lets me use some very nifty commands that include a command called read_CSV. If I look in my project window, I see this folder called MEPS_data. And it contains simplified versions of the original MEPS datasets. So let's open up MEPS 2013. So we type in, give it a name, MEPS_2013. This little arrow is an assignment operator. You can also do equals. You'll find that I always use the arrow. There's some technical reasons for that, but they don't matter for this course. They affect some of the other work that I do. And now I have to tell it where to go. Let's go to MEPS_data, and then slash. You have to use sort of the slash that goes from the top right to the lower left in R because it's sort of, they sort of use this Unix convention. So Mac OS users will be familiar with it. Unix users will be familiar with it. Windows users, we usually do the backslash, not the slash. And then I'll say MEPS_full_year_2013.csv. I can hit Control Enter. Oh, I forgot to load the tidyverse library. So let's hit library tidyverse. And now let's load that. Okay, so now it's loaded. I can do a couple of different things. I could click on MEPS_2013. This lets me look at the data visually. So it shows me all the columns that are in the data. I can slide across. And right now it shows me by default the first 50 columns, and I can slide up and down. And it'll show me as far down as I want to. Let's go to the next 50 columns. There we go, we see those. And then the next 50. And I know from looking at the environment panel that there are 106 variables out of 30, and there are 36,940 observations. So that's useful to know that I've actually looked at all the columns in the data. All right, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back and check our initial assignment. Close that. Let's go to the Module 1 assignment. Actually, let's just look at summarizing data. So there are a number of commands in R that the Tidyverse brings to bear that make it very easy to look at and summarize data. So we're going to start with doing a summary of MEPS_2013. Again, I just hit Control Enter to look at it. And here we see a summary of all 106 variables. So for each variable, it gives me the minimum, first quartile, median, mean, third quartile, and maximum value that it takes. And I have that for all the variables. In some cases, R will truncate or not list all the rows, and that's because you have too many variables for the window to work. Now in the example over here, we looked at things like pulling out particular variables using the pipe operator. So we can do that here too. I'm going to show you two different versions of the pipe. So there's this version. We're going to use the select statement to say, this is the variable I care about. I want exp13. That's total expenditures in 2013. And I want to get a summary of that variable. Again, I can hit Control Enter, and RStudio knows to go back to the beginning of all these pipes. Oh, you'll see I used a different pipe right here. Beginning R4.2, you can use that instead of this one. I've started shifting to the other one for technical reasons, but for this course, let's just stick to the usual % greater than % pipe character or pipe symbol. We're going to try and do this again for another variable. So in the slides, I do it for insurance coverage. We're going to do it for something different. Let's do seatbelt use. That's weird. I have -9, -1, 1, 0.6045, 1, and 6. So maybe seatbelt use isn't a continuous variable. So let's try something different. Let's try using the count command. Let's count the number of levels that this variable has. Oops, I didn't tell it what to count. Let's count this variable. And there we go. Now we have a count of the number of values of each level in this variable. And if you look back in the project folder, you'll see there's a codebook. I gave you the 2012 codebook. The 2013 codebook and 2014-15 are available online. But for our purposes, this is going to be pretty close to what we need. So we'll pull that one up. And I'm going to Control F and look for seatbelt. There we go, seatbelt 5.3. I want to see what values it takes. I don't know why it opened up into edit PDF mode. So there's a not ascertained, -9, -8 is DK for don't know, -7 is refused, -1 is inapplicable, 1 is always, 2 is nearly always, 3 is sometimes, 4 is seldom, 5 is never, and 6 is never drives or rides in a car. So if you look at the label for the variable, it says where's seatbelt, and then parentheses greater than 15. So they're only asking this question of people who are greater than 15 years of age. So that's where our inapplicable universe comes from, this -1. That's all the people who are 15 and under in the MEP survey. And the values 1 through 6 tell us for people who then responded to that question, what did they choose? So we can go back and we can see that in the 2013 panel, there were 9,520 people who declined to respond to that question. Now we can do one more thing, because if you notice here in the codebook, there's unweighted and weighted by per weight 12F. Well, we've got a sampling weight in our data set too. Oh, and here's a nifty trick in RStudio. You can do comma and then hit tab, and it will show you what other options are, or what other arguments are available. And we're going to use the weight equals and do per weight. Oh, it should be in there. I forgot that I had a select statement. Per weight 13F, and try that again. And now we see some different results. And we can play more games with this kind of code. Let's get the proportion as well. So this is where the prop.table function comes in. You need a prop.table of n. And now it gives you the proportion in each category. Here we're looking at the weighted proportion. We can take this out and look at the unweighted proportions as well. I hope that helps as you complete your first assignment.